Welcome ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about the stamina grind build for all classes. This build is optimized for grinding champion points. This works on all setups. Please check out the link in the description to see the written guide. Just for a quick overview, it has like stat sheet so you can compare a gear setup, like pretty much the best in slot you can get. Then an advanced setup which is easier to get, and a beginner friendly setup. As well as a skill layout for each class: Nightblade, Sorcerer, Templar, Dragonknight, Necro and the Warden. Champion points, the new ones. Of course the build works without champion points, but if you already have champion points, I generally take this direction from start to max, right? So technically, if you really want to get all champion points perks that you can slot or passively use, you need around like 2.1, 2.2k. But once again, this build works with 0, so don't worry too much about it. As well as, of course, what kind of buff food, the race, Moonstone, potions, all the passives you need. And I also actually showcase an example here of me grinding, like you've seen in the intro. So you can check out that one as well, and how much experience points you actually get and what kind of buffs I had. Of course, you could get more. I missed like Ring of Mara buff and so on, and ESO plus. So I already missed like 20%. So you could get even more. But anyway, it's just like for an estimate, right? And a few tips to help you around. There's also a full grind guide on the website with a lot of good grind spots, right? The one I showcased in the video at the start was Forgotten Wastes. It's pretty much my favorite grind spot. It's semi-instanced. There's two spots, spot 1 and spot 2. And the nice thing about this one is, if there's too many players in a public dungeon, it creates a new instance, right? It's pretty much the best grind spot you can get. Of course, Spellscar technically gives you a little bit more experience, but there is usually too many people there, and therefore Forgotten Waste will be better. Another good one would be Court of Contempt. This one here too, perfect. There's a lot of good spots. Make sure to check out the guide and you will be fine. They're all up here. If you want lazy grinding, you can also do dolmen grinding. Works well as well. Works good as well, I guess. And so on. There's a lot of guides here. Make sure to check them out. So, I'm going to showcase this here on a stem Sorc. First off, let's take a look at some of the stats. Like your health values, everything above 18,000 is good. Max stamina, it doesn't really matter. Pretty much everything is like kinda optional, because all you need is one AoE spammable skill and a dot, right? And then you will be fine. My base weapon damage is fairly high, and the weapon creep too, obviously. I mean, this could go a little bit higher, but anyway, it is fine like this. When I buff up with the thing, it goes even higher, right? So you have a lot of weapon damage, really good stamina recovery, and you're good to go. Lever Moonstone to increase our penetration. Now, in terms of buff food, I just use Dubious Cameron Throne. This one is very cheap to get in the guild stores. It gives you 315 stamina recovery, 2856 stamina, and 3094 health. This is very nice, and it's like for all, it barely costs anything, right? You could of course use Arteum, but Arteum is like 5,000 times more expensive. Same thing for the potion. We just use standard potions because we don't want to use expensive pots. So this one, you can buy them in the guild stores for a cheap price, or monsters obviously also drop them. And the reason why we can do this, because in most meta builds we use expensive potions that give us like Major Brutality and Major Savagery, but I made sure that the skill setup here always has Camo Hunter active. What that does is it gives us Major Savagery, which gives us 12% weapon crit permanently, right? as well as some minor berserk, which is really nice. So it's a lot of extra damage. And major brutality on the Warden, you get it from the Bullnetch, for example. As you can see here, major brutality, very nice. On the Necro, we use Shrouded Daggers to get the major brutality buff. On the Dragonknight, it's Igneous weapons. On the Templar, once again Shrouded Daggers. Sorc has a Crit Surge that gives us major brutality, and Nightblade has Power Extraction. So the most important buffs are always covered in each build, so if you don't want to use potions, you really don't need to, because the sustain is also kind of fine without that stuff. It's a very straightforward, easy to use build that doesn't require you to have like... So you don't have to use expensive potions and expensive buff foods and so on. But of course you should have Camo Hunter and things like on the sword Crit Surge, obviously. So that's this with the stuff. Race doesn't matter. I run a Dark Elf here. Anything that gives you weapon damage, anything that gives you max stamina is fine. The gear. Gear as well. The most important point is that you have training trait. Because each piece gives you 10% if you have purple gear, 9% if you have blue gear, right? You don't need gold gear. You can run around with blue gear, it's fine. The monsters usually die fairly fast, like you've seen at the start. Now, if you have purple gear, 7 times 10 is like 70% extra experience points. Boost. Same thing on the weapons, you can use training traits, so you get another 9%. On jewelry, you can just use robust, there's nothing else like special on there. To showcase that further, you go to the website. I'm sorry if I'm jumping around here a little bit much, but it's the easiest way to showcase. Let's see, the experience boost. There's a lot of things, right? Like I said, each armor piece. Then ESO Plus gives you another 10%. Then if you're married to another character, it gives you 10%, but you gotta ring a ring. Another 10% if you're in a group of 2. Then depending on what experience potion or scroll you use, 50%, 100%, or 150%, right? And if there is an event on, I always recommend grinding during an event. You get another 100%. So in theory, if you have like almost everything, you can get like 360% extra XP boost, right? That's a lot of extra XP, and you should try to get as close to this as possible. One small tip: if you are using experience potions that you can craft yourself or you can buy them in the store, make sure to have in the provisioning the connoisseur. It gives you 20% extra, 20 minutes extra time on your experience potions, as well as in the champion points 3. There is the perk called Rationer, which gives another 30 minutes. So you can have like 80 minutes experience boost. If you don't have any of these passives, it's like 30 minutes only. So you can save a lot of money on these experience potions. The next good trick, if you have daily rewards, like try to log in daily. That way you always get experience scrolls for free, like literally for free. You don't need to buy them. That's pretty much always how I do it. I try to log in daily, I get the XP scrolls. There is even 150% XP scrolls in there sometimes. So you really want to make sure to get that stuff. So now, anyway, the training stuff is over. So what kind of gear could you run? Let's go back to the website. The primary setup, I use Vicious Serpent. The reason that is, it gives you even better sustain and cost reduction. And then I use Hunting's Rage, which gives me good extra damage, and Stormfist. Of course, You could also run Pale Order, so you don't even need to worry about healing, because the Pale Order restores 18% of the damage you deal as health. That's a buttload of health. If you don't know how to get this on eso-hub.com, it's here. It even has like, it shows you in which zone you need to go, where the location of the leads are, and so on. Now this gear setup might be fairly hard to get, so there's an easier one. You can craft Hunting's Rage, you can buy Spriggan in the store. Spriggan, fairly cheap. If you don't buy it with a good trade, you want training anyway, so you gotta retrade that stuff, right? Or even simpler, Hunting's Rage, full body, then you get Agility, you can buy that stuff in the store, very cheap. And Trainee, which you can farm as well. Oh, let's see, yeah, I gotta fix this. I think I linked wrong, it shouldn't be Groftar. There we go, Trainee, right? Gives you a little bit more extra health, magic and stamina. That's pretty much it. So gear, in the end, use whatever you have. As long as you have training trait, you're good to go. That's what I'm trying to tell. Champion points, like I mentioned before, this system is completely new. The only thing that really matters, you want to get extra time on your buff food, or like to drink the XP potions. I mean, the green tree, Steed's Blessing is nice, so you can move around faster, which is really cool, but anything else is really optional. Now please, in the new system, certain perks need to be slotted, right? Like Steed's Blessing. It usually tells you below the bottom of the tooltip, add to champion bar to activate. But I have had it sometimes where I just forgot to slot it, and then you don't get the perk. Here, same thing. The list on the website pretty much tells you what you can pick first, and then just go your way up. Same thing, don't forget to slot the perks. The red one, there is cool things like Boundless Vitality that you can start off with to get more health. Then Rejuvenation for more recovery, even more health, and so on. Bloody Renewal is also pretty cool because it kinda is like a mini Vicious Serpent proc, so it gives you extra sustain. But that's pretty much it. Check out the website for the allocation. It's easier to see what way you have to go here. Also, if you hover over the text, you actually see what that thing does, right? Now, here on the Stem Sword, the build is usually fairly easy. You have a heal, like Echoing Vigor. I always use Echoing Vigor because it lasts longer and the heal is strong enough. Then on the back bar you will always find Arrow Barrage or Endless Hail. It's a nice AoE dot, very powerful. And then all you need to do is spam Steel Tornado, pretty much, like I did in the video, right? That's pretty much the easy rotation. Of course, things like Deadly Cloak, like this one here, is also nice to have because it deals some extra damage. And you can activate it pre-fight. On the Sorc, you also have cool things like Hurricane that you can use. And the Crit Surge, which heals you even more and gives you the weapon damage buff. So you apply all these things and you just spin to win your way to victory. Like I did in the video at the start. One thing, I use Channeled Acceleration on most setups. You don't need this, right? Like people always say, oh, the build on Alcast, like he always uses Sichik, Mage's Guild, Fire's Guild. Well, yes, because it makes the build better. But if you don't have it, the build will still work. The main reason why Channeled Acceleration is nice right now is you get a speed buff, so you can run around really fast, as well as Minor Force, which gives you 10% extra crit damage. So if you don't have this, like, it doesn't matter. You can just use any other random skill there and you will be fine. Did I forget anything? I think that's pretty much it. Maybe we can go through the class skill setups real quick. So on the Nightblade, once again, arrow barrage on the back bar. And then you have power extraction, which is your main spammable. Some things like echoing vigor as a heal, like I mentioned before, deadly cloak to get more damage. Leeching strikes is here for sustain. Dark shade can also be used as an extra dot. The only thing you might be confused at, like with, is soul harvest. Why do I use soul harvest and not incap? Because soul harvest is obviously the magicka morph, and incap is the stamina morph, right? So that doesn't make sense. Well, we don't use this as an ultimate. This is just passively slotted because while slotted, anytime you kill an enemy, you gain 10 ultimate. So we get ultimate points for free. That's the only reason why we use it, or like have it slotted. And on the back bar, sorry, here we go. On the back bar, we have Flawless, a Dawnbreaker that we actually activate. Of course, you can also use skills like Shooting Star on the back bar, even on stamina setups, because this one deals great damage, and it also, you generate 12 ultimate for each enemy hit. So you can really increase your ultimate gain by a buttload. And this thing also deals a lot of damage. That's a general Nightblade setup. I also gave here a quick explanation. On the Sorc, I just showcased this. You have sustain issues on a Sorc, really easy. Just spam Dark Deal. You trade magicka for stamina. On Templar, you spam Steel Tornado. Of course, you could use Biting Chaps, but Steel Tornado is usually easy to use. Repentance to restore resources, and Restoring Focus to even increase your stamina recovery more. Dragonknight, same thing. You have Flames of Oblivion, Arrow Barrage as a dot, Deadly Cloak as a dot. You can use Noxious Breath as a direct damage ability and a dot, and then you just spam Steel Tornado. I also slotted Take Flight, so you can use it as a gap closer. Necro has a cool ability called Necrotic Potency, so if the enemies are dead, you can activate this and you will regain a buttload of ultimate, so 6 ultimate per corpse, so you can also use ultimate a lot faster than other classes. And of course, Blighted Blast Bones is really good, it hits like a truck. Shrouded Daggers. I don't use Deadly Strikes, Deadly Cloak here, because we need Shrouded Daggers for the Major Brutality buff. Warden, same thing. You have Arrow Barrage and Deadly as a dot, and then you just use Sub Assault with Steel Tornado. Spin to win and you're good to go. If it's a little bit confusing, just try it out. There's like a small description on how to use it. But in the end, as long as you have Arrow Barrage and Steel Tornado, you will be fine, right? Drop that and just spin to win. And everything will die. So I think I talked enough about the build. Make sure to check out the website. It's probably easier to find things here, and the example also should make it easier to showcase how I just grind pretty much. Oh yeah, down here there's a few tips. So a lot of people lose time. Now if you want to max your gains, every time you don't kill a monster, you lose experience, right? So if you have to go back to repair, you lose time. So make sure to bring repair kits. If you gotta go back to get potions or buff food or experience potions or experience scrolls or whatever, you lose time, so make sure to bring that stuff along. Yes, you can loot the monsters and sell the items. It actually gives you good money, but once again, you will lose time. So you gotta either prioritize experience or money. So these are all things and decisions you have to make. For me, I will just not loot at all. I will just grind, grind, grind. But if you don't have a lot of money, you probably want to loot and go sell stuff as well. But it will result in less experience. Unless, of course, you have like the... what's it called? The assistant. Where you can spot sell pretty much. That's also a good way. So I talked long enough. If you have any questions, best way to catch me is either during a live stream on Twitch. Usually I stream Saturday and Sunday. I think, let me actually... yeah, down here there's a stream schedule, so you know when I'm live. Most of the times, if I'm not raiding at that day, then I'm usually not live. But when I'm raiding, I should be live. There's also community Discord that you can ask questions in. It's very nice. I do have a Twitter. You can ask me questions, or I spam a lot of things on Twitter, by the way, yeah. Don't forget to subscribe here on the YouTube channel. I do have a second YouTube channel where I upload like past live streams and stuff like that. And if you need a Discord or a Telegram bot, the Dwemer Automaton is also here for you. All links in the description. Thanks for watching and have a nice day. Cheers.